Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another rendition of the Sports Senseis. We are back, and we are back officially. We are so excited to see you guys. We're so excited to cover all of these topics we have for y'all. We'll be talking some NBA, some NFL, and even throwing a little bit of WNBA in there as well. So make sure you stay tuned because you are not going to want to miss the show. It's going to be a fun, exciting show. We have so many ideas, so many thoughts, so many comments, and on all the topics that we're going to be talking about. So make sure you stay tuned. But before we get into all of that, make sure you check out this really cool video. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your girl Sensei, and we are back with the Sports Sensei. I'm so excited to be here. I got my fellow co-host here with me. Ruth the Truth is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Ruth, how are you feeling? What's going on, sis? I know you're back in school.
We back.
Tell the people about your journey, sis. Yes, tell them about your journey, sis. We are definitely back.
It is so good to be back on with you. It is so good to be back on with you. And now we have Jay Nicole entering the chat as well. What's up, Jay Nicole?
Is we back or what, Jay? Are we back? Is that what the feeling is right now? Is everybody as excited as me? Because I'm excited. I can't wait. I've been itching.
Yeah, we had a great off season. We had some time to bother ourselves. Now that we're back out of training camp, we're ready to go. Our regular season is back on.
Yes,
welcome to the Sports Sensei, brought to you by ASAP Network. Ladies, I missed y'all.
I know. I missed you guys so much as well. Like Ruth the Shoe said, we've had quite the off season. But just know we have been in communication with each other. We've been dying to get back. We just had to sync our schedules. We're busy ladies. You got to give us some grace. We're busy ladies.
And we all live in different time zones.
And we all live in different time zones.
That makes it really tough.
We work at different times. We're doing different stuff. So it's a lot happening. But hey, at least we're busy and we're doing what we love. So we can't complain too much. But ladies, I do want to ask you a few questions before we get into our actual topic. So like I said, Ruth, I know right now you're in school. Please tell the people real briefly, how's that going for you? What's that been like? My good sis looks stressed, so I'm just gonna let her run.
It's only the start of week 2 at USF, and I'm already overwhelmed. I probably should have took like maybe 2 to 3 classes to try to get myself back in the swing of things. But no, I dived in head first, taking 4 courses, full-time schedule. So it's been great. I'm meeting a lot of great people, a lot of people that are interested in the same stuff that I'm into, which is great. Now that I'm at this portion of my educational journey right now, because I'm a junior going to be a senior pretty soon here at USF. So I'm just excited to get this bachelor's so I can start applying for positions that I really want to apply for, that not having a degree has been kind of holding me back a little bit. So trying to get that certificate down and packed so I could be rolling with the big boys.
I like it. And Jay, but first, before we get to that, let's salute Ruth the Truth for sticking out with this school stuff, because that ain't easy.
Don't speak too soon.
Well,
you
Jay,
can
what's
do
Jay's
it.
what's your off season been like since
Look, so
what's
I
been going on with you?
actually, my 9 to 5 is working for a university. So
Nice.
I've been very, very, very busy this summer getting all these new freshmen in. So school has started. Things will start to wind down, and we can get back to the sports life. So I took an off season and personally because I had my 9 to 5, I had to focus on that. It was very, very busy summer. So but ready to get back with you ladies, ready to get back to talking sports. I missed you. But we just right in time, right? Football started, and I
It's
mean, we ran out of
there's no
that.
better
We ran out of
time.
that. We ran out of that. We ran out of that.
Yes,
There's
no
no
better.
better time to start now. It's my favorite time of the year. Of course, we got the fall going into the winter side of things. So we got basketball, we got football, we have everything you can possibly think of going on right now. So it's the best time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So our first topic we're going to cover because while we were on off season, everything was in an uproar. Everything was all over the place. Everybody was all over the place. There were so many rumors. There were so many trade scenarios, and this person's going here, and this person demanded this, and yada yada yada. But at the center, at the helm of it, because he would have it no other way. Kevin Durant started the summer requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, caused all this hoopla, said basically it's either me or them as far as the GM and the coach, and then ultimately decided to stay put. So, Jay, I'm going to start with you because I know you are itching to let the people know how much you love Kevin Durant. He's your favorite person in the entire world. So I'm going to let you go ahead and start first and tell me what you think. Like,
Why?
what's your thoughts?
Why, Kevin Durant? You are such trash. So you demand this trade, right? You gotta go. It's the coach's fault. It's the GM's fault. Only for them to sit down with you, talk it over all smooth. You know what? I have committed to the. I have committed to the team, and I'm gonna come back. Whatever. All that hate you getting from Patrick Beverly right now. Your Twitter feed going back and
Mm,
forth with him. All of that
mm,
is well deserved. Okay, dude,
mm-hmm.
ride with the team. Give it. What did he signed a 4 year deal? Ride with him. Like you just gonna give up. Oh snap! I see Golden State win the championship without me. I need to jump ship. We're not winning. Like you supposed to be that dude. You are that dude. I know Kyrie left you hanging last season, gave you about 30 games. You didn't really have your dude. James Harden dipped out. Like this whole organization is crazy. Kyrie's a drama queen. I'm out. Went to 76ers. You got Ben No Play Simmons, which you don't know. But look, bro, if you're that dude, I need you to not jump ship because you didn't. You, you got swept by the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. So you were like, dang, we really ain't doing nothing. But bro, stick with it. Come on. But what could I expect? I don't expect anything more from Kevin Durant. You know how I feel about him. But let's see. Let's see what he does this season. Let's see if he can regain the respect of the Brooklyn Nets fans and his teammates and actually get them to win a playoff game. Can we at least hope for
Yeah.
that from Kevin Durant?
Ooh.
But
Before I kick it off to Ruth J, let me ask you this really quick. Do you think I know you said regain the respect of his teammates, but do you think that he has to regain respect from the league as well? Do you think that people on the league are looking at KD a little bit different now with how everything has transpired from the OKC move to Golden State and then Golden State to Brooklyn and then supposedly he wants out of Brooklyn because of whatever reason. So do you think he has to regain the respect of his peers as well?
he is a definite flip flopper. I think I don't know. Like, let's say, hey, he goes, plays this year, or whatever, and then he's like, okay, I'm really trying to get out of for this. I mean, he's Kevin Durant, so I can see why people will still want him, right? His game, his caliber. But I think people are thinking
Mm-hmm.
he ain't who he says he is, which I knew that from jump. But like, you know what I mean? People be putting a lot of stock on Kevin
Mm-hmm.
Durant, and I'm like, as a leader, as somebody you
Mm-hmm.
want for your franchise. To stand up, like he's a flake, bro. He's a flake, and so I think people around the league,
Yeah.
like I said, all the smoke that Patrick Beverly's been giving him. Anybody who's been to like, bro, like pick a side, stay there. What is you doing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, he there's some respect on his name because he's Kevin Durant, but I think
Right.
this should definitely make the league look twice. They should be looking at him sideways now, like, bro, what are you doing? You just jumping ship because it didn't go your way right away. You flip flopping.
Mm-hmm.
You go chase championships now. Oh, championship teams, like stick it
Yeah.
out, bro. Go through the tough times. So it'll see. I think he has a lot to prove this season. Could he redeem himself? Sure, because he's still Kevin Durant, and I will always
Right.
respect the man's game. But him as a person and all this, can't get with it. But we'll see. I think he'll have to prove
Yeah.
himself this season.
Yeah, well, Ruth, let me ask you this before you dive into your actual opinion. Do you think that because I mean we all know he's staying for this year, so does that mean that he's going to fulfill his contract, or can we possibly see him try to move on down the road? You know, is this solid, or is this just a 1 year thing where it's just kind of a year at a time? Like, what do you think?
It's so hard to say with Kevin Durant because of what Jay had mentioned, his journeyman that he has been the past couple seasons. It doesn't really seem like anything will make this guy happy. So, I mean, will Josai and Sean Marks make everything all hunky dory by the end of next season? Who knows? Maybe he's just staying with Brooklyn until maybe he could go through half the season in January when they're having all these trade deadlines. Maybe that's when he'll be making a move. Maybe we'll find another team that's actually going to put an offer on the table that interests the Brooklyn Nets. But I just think it's so volatile. It's so toxic, the locker room atmosphere that they're going to have going into this season. It's going to take a lot of therapy, and maybe they need to call Aaron Rodgers and figure out where he went in the mountains to go let out all that stress and drink that whatever voodoo drink, whatever it's called. They have a lot of work to do. And now I'm wondering, is Kyrie staying? Is Kyrie still going to make his move? I mean, does Kevin Durant even still want to play with his best friend, Kyrie Irving? Are they still even friends? Like, a lot of question marks are surrounding Kevin Durant and his career, and it's a shameful. It's a shame because he is so talented. For a very, very long time, he's been considered one of the best in the league. So having this attached to his career, people might say it's not hurting his legacy, but I think otherwise.
I think so as well. I think this because I kind of get this feeling of that he's just one of those people that's just never satisfied. You know, those people that no matter what, like you do or whatever, no matter what happens, they find an issue and they have to find an issue in something. Like it's within their human nature and their characteristics to have to find an issue with something. And I feel like KD is one of those people. He's very up and down. He's very sometimey. He's very like you can't gauge him. You can't predict what KD's thinking from this hour to the next hour, because 1 minute he's with you and the next minute he's against you. So it's just like it makes it really difficult to kind of categorize him or to put him into this certain box, because he's just so destined to be like the complete opposite of what he should be. And it's like you're so great. You're so great. Like otherworldly great, out of this world talented great. Like, but you don't have to do this. So this is very low of you to have to resort to these kind of antics. Like, you're Kevin freaking Durant. Like, you don't have to do all of this. You know,
and I think that's a testament to the mentality and the mental part of the game. Absolutely. Yes, you could be physically talented to the point where nobody can be put beside you, but if you don't have the mental capacity that goes with the criticism of being on top of the world, because everybody wants to say something negative. Not everybody is going to be your best friend. If you're over there beating teams, they're going to have some stuff to say. And I just feel like Kevin Durant is too thin-skinned to deal with the criticism that is definitely going to come his way now that he made all this nonsense, this drama for him to just stay. Like, how is Steve Nash supposed to face Kevin Durant after he asked
and Josiah and Sean Marks all of them
to be fired? Like, it's too toxic for me. I want nothing to do with it. It reminds me a lot of my last relationship, and I just
and here's the thing. Here's the thing as well. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's why I always say that everybody can't be considered the best player in the world, because it's more than just having the title. You have to have the criticism comes along with it. The praises come along with it. The responsibility comes along with it. The leadership comes along with it. And there's about 3 things that I just mentioned that Kevin Durant doesn't have and doesn't want to be a part of. And that is leadership, criticism, and responsibility. Because at the end of the day, if you look at all the situations that he's been in and what has worked out and what hasn't worked out for him, all of those 3 things that I just named are factors in that. Like responsibility, leadership, and criticism. Kevin Durant hates for somebody to critique him. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a former player, whether it's just a random analyst, whether it's a person on Twitter with 20 followers. It doesn't matter. If you critique Kevin Durant, he's got something to say, and it's like you can't be the best player in the world, if that's gonna bother you, think about. And I hate to even bring. Well, I know I don't hate this because this is my goat, but I hate to. I'm gonna bring it full circle for a second. LeBron's been in the spotlight since he was 15 years old. He's had criticism, responsibility, and has had to be a leader at it as a young man who didn't even know how to lead himself. Like, he don't even know how to be a man himself, but he's already casted all these responsibilities on top of his head, and he's carried that for what going on now. We're going into 20 NBA seasons. So everybody can't have a seat at the table, and this is where we separate the regulars from the greats. That's why I would say there's a difference between really good and exceptionally great. Kevin Durant is a great talent, but if you're gonna ask me, do I feel like he belongs at the table with the Kobe Bryant, with the Michael Jordan, and a LeBron James? The answer is gonna be no, because I mean, like, granted, LeBron is a journeyman too. He's jumps teams too. But what you can say is he's fulfilled his contract every team he's gone to, and he's won a championship at least every stop, and won playoff series and playoff games at every stop. We cannot say the same thing for Kevin Durant.
And I'll give some flowers to her name is slipping me right now, but LeBron James's girl that he's been with since high school,
Savannah James, the GOAT.
I think that she's literally been locking that man down. And I mean, I don't think Kevin Durant has really had a woman like that in his life. So maybe that has some play to do with it. When you have somebody that's holding you down and you could bounce things off of and just remind you of who you are. Maybe Kevin Durant is missing a lucky lady in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, Savannah James still makes LeBron take the trash out. So if that don't let you know how thorough Savannah James is, nothing else will. Okay, I think I might be a bigger fan of Savannah James than I am of him, for real, because she just his goals. Like, she don't say nothing. She just fine. She just be out here rich. Like, go, sis. Teach me your ways. Teach me your ways. But all right, moving on from the NBA, let's jump into some NFL, because the NFL is upon us. We are rapidly approaching week 1. So we'll start with some rumored news first, and then we'll go to our week 1 predictions. So today, all the hoopla has been Lamar Jackson. Supposedly, the Ravens have rejected his contract offer for the extension, as far as the years and the money that he's asking for. And he recently liked a picture of himself photoshopped in a Miami Dolphins uniform, which he has spoken about that being one of his second favorite teams since he grew up in the Florida area. So, Ruth, the truth, what do you think about this news? Do you think there's a possibility that this could happen? What does this say for the Ravens? What's going on?
This is definitely news to me about him liking a photo of him photoshopped in a Miami Dolphins jersey. I think that would be a very interesting move from the Miami organization. Do I see it happening? I really believe that they're trying to give Tua another year to see how things really pan out for that offense. I think adding Tyreek Hill was just a testament of them really believing in Tua and his skills and trying to improve the deep ball that everybody says that Tua is one of the factors that Tua doesn't have. So as much as I would love to see Lamar Jackson in Miami, which is only a 3-hour drive for me from Tampa, I don't think it's a possibility. I think Lamar Jackson really just needs to go hire himself an agent. Having a family member as your agent can be very, very tricky, especially a woman coming from those emotions as your stepmom. I believe it is his stepmom that is his agent. So I just think for him to actually get a deal done, a long-term contract with the Baltimore Ravens, the very first thing he needs to do is hire some representation that is going to have those conversations with the team and going to have those conversations that are needed for that front office to actually write, scribble down that check that Lamar Jackson and everybody could at least say that he probably deserves.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
Now, I'm going to be totally going against the grain here, all right? I am. I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan. I'm not. He hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Was it 2019 MVP? Like, I need you to get it done in the playoffs. I need more. So maybe, maybe the Ravens are like, you haven't got it done in the playoffs. Now, however, who do they have if they don't have him? This is true. But I'm just saying, maybe they like, we need to move around these zeros a little bit, cut you a little, like show us, maybe we like, look, we ain't ready to extend you that. Let me see what you do this season. Be injury free, win us a couple of playoff games. I don't know, but he ain't got it done in the postseason. So I'm out on Lamar. I'm not a huge Lamar fan. I'm not mad at the Ravens for being like, hey, we got to situate these numbers. I'm not mad at them. Maybe, hey, you need to prove it. So, like, let's do one more year. Let's see, injury free. Let's see what you do. Get us a couple playoff wins. Let's see. So, I'm not mad at the Ravens. Not a huge Lamar Jackson fan. If he went to the Dolphins, that would be very interesting. But I think, like Ruth said, they're going to give Tua, another chance. And they brought in the one and only. I mean, it hurts for my team, right?
Right.
It's still rough about this, but it's okay. Patrick go use other weapons. It's gonna be all right. But yeah, they brought in Tyreek Hill, so I think Miami's feeling really good about themselves. But who knows what the future holds? Maybe in a year, Lamar Jackson could be in a Miami Dolphins uniform.
Remember all that hoopla that was surrounding Dak Prescott with him getting his long-term contract with the Dallas Cowboys? He decided to bet on himself. And what happened? Mm-hmm. He got injured and missed 11 games. Like, he definitely made the wrong decision. I mean, it ended up panning out for him. It definitely worked out because Jerry Jones was not going to let Dak Prescott walk away. But Lamar, do you really want to roll the dice on going into a season without a long-term contract with the possibility that you could face injury? He was not available all throughout the season last season. So that could be coming into play for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. So I think it's really, really risky to pull a Dak Prescott, but it might just work out for him. Who knows?
We'll see.
Okay. So here's the thing with Lamar Jackson. Like, I'm a fan of his, and I think that I do agree with Jay, though. I think he does have to get it done in the playoffs for sure. Like, that's where you make your money. That's your bread and butter. It's like, you've got to prove yourself in when it matters on that big stage. But also in his defense, like, he hasn't had the greatest O-line since he's been with the Ravens. He hasn't had a consistent receiver that he can rely upon. He hasn't had the strongest running game. So it's like there's been a lot of things that have worked against him. He's made the Ravens at least a relevant enough team to get them to the playoffs. Now, I know that's not the end all be all, but he has done a lot with a little. You know what I'm saying, in his defense. But at the same time, I do think that it's kind of 50-50 as far as with the Ravens and with him, because if they want to make it work with him, they've got to get him some talent in there. They got to get him some help. They got to get him, a solid core team around him, because he's proven himself to be a good leader. Like, a lot of his teammates love playing with him. We haven't had, heard any complaints about him not being, ready to play or not knowing the plays or any kind of, outside distractions or anything of that nature. So he's a good, good humble kid. So they've got to get some talent around him, but at the same time, it can't be the same thing every year, because you have to develop. Like, there's got to be a point where they can trust you to throw the deep ball. They can trust you to throw the short routes and be accurate. They can trust you to do things that most the quarterbacks that we consider top 5 in this league, you have to be at least top 10. Like, you got to be somewhere on that spectrum. So it's like it's 50-50 on both sides as to why I think the Ravens are kind of hesitant. And then Lamar's hesitant on the same way, because it's like, if I sign myself to this contract, then are you going to build a team around me that we can, possibly go deep in the playoffs with? Can I trust you to bring enough talent around me to make this make sense? So it's like both teams, I think both sides have to sit in the middle and say, okay, what exactly is the game plan here? What are we expecting to do? What do you expect from me? And this is what I expect from you. And if they can meet in the middle, fine. Let's try to make it work. If not, then let's exhaust other options. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar ended up in Miami, because, like you said, Ruth, I think Miami's given Tua maybe one more trial year, especially bringing in Tyreek Evans to see what he can do. And if he can't make it work with that, I think they're going to start looking elsewhere. And they have every right to, because you're top. I think what was he drafted again? Like, number, was it a top? Was it first round? No, Tua.
Oh, Tua was, I think, taken 4th overall.
Yeah, okay. So you're a 4th overall pick. So it's like you can't, like, we've invested a lot in you to bring our franchise out of poverty, basically, and put us in the realm with everybody else. So if you can't do that, I mean, how many more chances is Tua gonna get? You know what I'm saying? So I I definitely think that it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I think Lamar obviously is going to stay in Baltimore for at least another year. But next year, depending on how both teams fare, it could be some changes. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, if we look at the record of the Baltimore Ravens last season, it was 8-9, and that's obviously well under 500. But we also got to remember, going into week 1, they were missing like 4 or 5 starters. Dobbins was hurt. A lot of their offensive weapons got hurt all in training camp. So it was a really, really tough situation.
And then Lamar got hurt towards the end of the year too. So
yeah.
So he was out towards the end of the year.
Didn't he get hurt at one point when they ended up beating Kansas City early in the season, and he did like a front flip into the end zone, and then the next day he couldn't play because his like hip was hurting. I was like, dude, bro, what the heck? Like, no, you don't do that kind of stuff. And maybe those kind of antics is why the Baltimore Ravens are like, okay, we haven't seen enough from this kid yet.
Yeah, for sure. They had a really I wouldn't even count last year because they had a really rough year last year. Like they lost literally everybody on their team in like the beginning of the season, and then like I said, Lamar got hurt like towards the middle of the season. It was never really the same, and they ended up sitting them down towards the end of the year anyway. So yeah, but I mean this year I think is going to be the telltale year for both sides, for Lamar and for the Ravens, and as well as we factor in the Miami Dolphins as well, because I think, like I said, they're looking at it like, all right, so we got you some talent, we got you some things that we feel like that we saw you excel at. So we brought that around you to make this a more comfortable, suitable situation for you. If you can't make this work, then, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they start looking elsewhere to see what else they could get.
Yeah. Dude, just a few years back, the Ravens were 14-2 in 2019. Like when he run his MVP, right? So it's like, man, we want to see this MVP caliber Lamar Jackson, and the injuries, and I mean, I won't count last year anyways because like they were hurt, a lot of their players were hurt, but even in previous, I'm like, don't have a 14-2, regular season and then get to the playoffs and not show up. I need you to be that team. I need you to be that MVP. Like I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm being hard on Lamar, but I want to see more from him. If you're that guy, I'm gonna be hard on him.
Do you think John Harbaugh and the rest of the Ravens organization are maybe doubtful with Lamar's physicality and how he just loves to run the ball as much as he does? Maybe they aren't looking for a running quarterback. Maybe they're trying to make some changes to that offense for him to throw the ball more. But for that to happen, he needs better protection on that offensive line. So, you kind of gotta give to get a little bit. So I think the Ravens and Lamar just really need to sit down with his agent that he needs to hire, a legitimate agent, and really kind of just hash things out.
We're using your stepmama. No.
Here's the thing about the whole agent thing, right? Because I like the idea of people using more so people, because either way, like even hired agents aren't always the best either. So it's like there's like a catch-22 there. I get what you're saying, Ruth, but there's still agents that are professional agents that have been hired to be that have gone through the training or whatever to be agents, and that aren't good agents. And then you have people that aren't trained to be good agents who are Rich Paul. Like, so it's like, but I feel you in that sense. I think he needs to be more assertive, because he just seems like a really laid back, like go with the flow kind of guy. And I think in this kind of situation, like he needs to be a little bit more assertive and say, hey, these are because it's one thing to let somebody else speak for you. It's another thing to speak for yourself. And I think at some point, even with an agent, you have to be like, all right, I got this. Like, let me be the one to lead the charge, and you just have my back on the back end. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he needs to kind of put his foot down and say, look, you're still my agent. I respect your opinion. However, how I feel needs to be at the forefront as well, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that's out on the field throwing these balls, getting hit. Like I'm the one that's going through all this. So I need to be the one that is more vocal than anybody else in this room, because at the end of the day, it comes down to what I feel is best and the team, and what we can make work, or what we can't make work, and what we have to do to make whatever situation that I go to better. So, right. I mean, it's just, it's an interesting situation, and it's definitely a situation to keep your eye on. because anything can happen. We've seen crazier in the NFL. So
shout out to Damian Hernandez for bringing up an excellent point about Derek Carr. I'm gonna swing that to you, ladies, real quick.
Okay,
Alana, Miss Sensei.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Would you rather have Derek Carr or Lamar Jackson?
That's interesting because I feel like they have similar strengths and similar weaknesses, and then they have opposite of strengths and weaknesses as well, because Derek Carr can throw the deep ball, but Derek Carr isn't always accurate with the deep ball. So it's like being able to throw it is one thing, but can I count on it? You know what I'm saying? And Lamar Jackson, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, we've seen him throw far, but it's like, is it going to be accurate? Is it going to turn into an interception? Is it going to be an incomplete pass? Are you going to overthrow? Are you going to underthrow? But if I had to pick one who I felt like the star quarterback is present day right now, gun in my head, it would be Derek Carr. I would pick Derek Carr.
What about you, J. Nicole?
Can we put Lamar Jackson on on the Raiders? So can we put no, I think I would go with Derek Carr. I don't know, like, you can call me a Lamar Jackson hater. I know I just keep saying he hasn't got it done in the playoffs. I just want to see more from him because I do feel that he's truly talented. Carr now with Devontae Adams, what we doing, right? That's his homeboy from college, right? What we doing? So we might see a whole new, brand new, improved Derek Carr. Can I say right now, I want to see how the season goes and see what they do. But to me, Carr is looking up. He got Devontae Adams, and I feel like they're about to do the damn thing. So I'm excited to see the Raiders this season, which that's something I never say. But I'm excited to see that duo bring back that college love. And I think the Raiders can definitely go far this season. So
the Raiders are going to be a lot of fun this season for sure.
So at this point, I would say Carr.
What is it? The AFC West? Yeah, the AFC
that's a
West,
stacked conference right now.
Yo, I don't think that we've ever had a powerhouse. I mean, as long as I've been watching the NFL, I don't remember ever having such a powerhouse division like the AFC West. Like, nobody can really say who they think is going to completely take over that division. Like, it's going to be stacked. And most of the teams in the AFC West have a pretty difficult schedule. So there's no walk in the parks for any of the teams in the West. But it should be interesting because I really love Derek Carr. I've always loved Derek Carr. I think he has great physicality. I think he's a tough guy. I think he knows how to lead a locker room. I love the way he handled last season with all the distractions that came throughout that way. I mean, they lost their freaking head coach and they were going with the intermittent coach. And Rich Bisaccia, like, the whole entire season, and they were still making it to the playoffs and making some noise and beating the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Well,
I'm still not over that game. I was so upset. It like ruined my whole dinner and everything. But yeah, when it comes down to those two quarterbacks, they both bring great physicality to the table. But I would have to go with Derek Carr. So, and if I were to maybe, let's say 15 out of the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, I would probably choose over Lamar Jackson. So still a lot to prove. Like you said, Alana, like you said, J. Nicole, he's got a lot to prove in the playoffs, but we should see how that shakes up with the Ravens.
Absolutely. So moving on from that, let's start with our week 1 predictions, because week 1, like I said, is around the corner. It'll be here sooner than you think. So we'll start with the first game. Because it's a Thursday night game instead of Sunday night. So we'll start with the Bills and the Rams, which is interesting because before I get you ladies' opinion, I want to throw this out there really quick. My husband OBJ doesn't have a team currently at the moment. But, there's been rumors that he is interested in going to the Bills because one of his good friends, Rob Miller, obviously is at the Bills currently. But then he also has mentioned that he loves LA as well. So let's throw that out there as well. I feel like it's really interesting that they start the season with that game. But so I'm going to start with Jay. Who do you think wins that game? And do you think Odell stays with the Rams, or is there a possibility he goes with the Bills?
Sign my dude. Sign him back to the Rams. I mean, we've talked about this numerous times. I'm like, give him a 1-year deal. He's not worried about the money. OBJ is LA, right? He's big city, big time. That's just who he is. Like, keep him there. Him hanging out in Buffalo, I don't know. But, like, I just wanted to see him with the Rams because we all know If he hadn't got hurt, definitely could have been MVP of the Super Bowl. He scored the first touchdown. Like, I really would love to see him stay in the Rams. I know Ruth had brought up, hey, maybe the Chargers were like, okay, you ain't just, switch to different seat, but just still be in LA. So I would like the Rams, please, if you're watching, please, please sign OBJ. I just feel like that's his home and that's where he belongs. But definitely be interesting to go, join Von Miller and the Bills. But this game, this is interesting because I know Josh Allen has this chip on his shoulder because he's like, we should have beat the Chiefs. But I feel like he is coming back this season with a vengeance. He is like, no, we had that. So, oh man, and I don't be giving Josh Allen his flowers, but what he did in that game against my Chiefs, bro, he finally earned my respect. Not that he was a bad player, but what I thought was, I wasn't sure if he was ready for the moment. And he showed up and showed out against my Chiefs, and he was ready for the moment. Unfortunately, you can't leave back. Okay, sorry, it's a whole I think this will be I'm sorry, I get excited. But Josh Allen, I give you all the respect. You are ready for the big moment. I think, again, he's going to come back with vengeance. But you got the Super Bowl champs, right? Like, we ready to make a statement because we believe we can get there again, right? I think it's going to be a very hard-fought game. I want to say close score. I'm going to go 21-18.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. I like it. I like it. What about?
I'm gonna go Rams.
What about you, Ruth? The truth. I like it.
Man, as much as I would love OBJ to return back to the Los Angeles Rams, where are they gonna find the money? Where? Like, they spent so much bread in the offseason. It's like every time they make a new signing, I was just like, yo, where are they getting this money from? Like, is the cap even exist in LA? Like, I don't even understand it. It was so much money that they were dishing out in the offseason. But they improved their roster. Guys, if you really think about it, yeah, Von Miller made his exit. There's still a question mark around OBJ, but they stacked up in the offseason, and they obviously brought back Aaron Donald, who's been a pain in the side to every quarterback in the league for quite some time now. I think the Rams are gonna be like Super Bowl hangover. What? Like they're really gonna prove that theory out of the way in week 1. But I mean, what a team to go up against to really challenge your Super Bowl champs than the Buffalo Bills. Because as Jay Nicole alluded to, Josh Allen has a chip on his shoulder because he knew that he was supposed to be the Kansas City Chiefs last season in the playoffs. I mean, they had to make that game interesting after getting totally whooped the year before by the Kansas City Chiefs. I still remember that game. It was ridiculous. Like, Tyreek Hill scored like 3 touchdowns in one quarter.
Yeah, it was real bad. They
couldn't even stop him. Then Travis Kelce came in, started getting his flowers too. It was a real hot mess. Things were really starting to peel apart. And at that moment, I really could see it in Josh Allen's face back in 2020. Yeah. That he just wasn't ready for the moment. He still needed to put, I mean, his big boy pants on. Just he was not wearing them during that game. But I mean, going down against the Kansas City in overtime the way he did, he definitely earned a lot of respect around the league. And I really think it's going to be a competitive matchup for week 1 on a Thursday night. But I'm going to take the Super Bowl winning champs, the Rams, because Aaron Donald is not going to let Josh Allen breathe.
Yeah. So yeah, it's this is an interesting game. Like I said, I just thought it was interesting just because with the offseason, I just kind of been paying attention. Like, it's been back and forth between, is he gonna stay with the Rams or with the Bills? But Ruth, you did bring up a good point, like where they're gonna get the money. But on the flip side of that, I think they can still get them for the minimum because they kind of got them for the minimum last year too, in the middle of the year. And like I said, at this point, I think Odell has made enough money where he's not really looking for the knock it out the park contract. Odell wants to win championships, like, irregardless, because if he was looking for the money, he wouldn't have went to the Rams last year. He would have went somewhere else to another team where he could have got his money, and he just would have been, he would have been satisfied with that. Odell wants to win championships. He wants to etch his name as one of the greats in this game, and it's just unfortunate with injuries that I think that's going to be a hard-fought road for him, especially at this point in his career. But he wants to win championships, which is why I think these two teams are in the running to land him. Because if you look at the Bills, their defense is outstanding. They have a great offense. They have a great line. They got a great quarterback, a young quarterback in Josh Allen. They got a great receiver on one side with Stephon Diggs. Like, so Odell would be kind of like if he went to the Bills, it would be the same way if he went to the Rams. He'd be that missing piece that would not necessarily make a difference, but it's going to give you a slight edge because Odell is still an otherworldly talent. You know what I'm saying? And he's still going to bring positivity to your team. He's going to bring production to your team. So, I think he ends up staying in LA though. I think they figure out a way to keep him in LA. But for the game itself, I see this game being a shootout for real. Even with as great as both defenses are, I think both quarterbacks, the way that their offenses are just so potent, which I think that's what the game is going to come down to. Who's going to have the ball in their hands last to make that final, make that final drive. But I think the score, I got the Rams. I think the score will end up being 30-27. I think it's gonna be right. It's gonna be a hard fought, close game. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a shootout. I think both teams are gonna be in their bag. The Rams. I believe this is a home game for the Rams because they'll be getting their officially getting their. Well, they got their rings already, but they'll do the banner and all that stuff prior to the game. So yeah, man, I think the Rams are gonna squeak that one out. But boy, don't sleep on the Bills this year because they are coming for blood. Like Jay said, Josh Allen saw the end of that game and was like, we should have won that. Like I know all off season, he probably watched that game so many times he could probably tell you from start to finish exactly what happened. And so he wants another crack at Patrick Mahomes real bad. So don't sleep on the Bills, man. They're coming. They are coming.
So all right, so I picked the Rams, Alana picked the Rams, and Jay Nicole, you're picking the Bills.
No, I picked the Rams.
Oh, we
too.
all three picked
Close
the Rams?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, 21, like very close. 21, 18, 21, 17, something like that. Yeah.
All right. We'll see how our predictions go. I think during the regular season, for sure, we should take the time to look at the list of the week picks and then talk about that during the game so we can keep tabs on that. But yeah, let's move on to the next game. It's going to be Sunday at 1:00. They have the New Orleans Saints and the Falcons.
Yes.
So Jameis was looking pretty decent coming off of injury in the preseason. Yeah, it's a preseason and you're going against the second and third defenses, but I mean he was looking pretty swell. He got his offense involved. What do you ladies think about week 1 against the Saints and Falcons? The Falcons are going to be playing at home.
Who do the Falcons have again?
Right, exactly. We
Who's
just
on the
Falcons, but who?
Who's the
They
Falcons?
got Kyle Pitts, they got Cardell Patterson, they got
right,
Marcus
nobody.
Mariota,
So nobody. Got it. Nobody. Okay, great.
Marcus Mariota is their starting quarterback.
Right, trash. Good, got it. Understood. So I think this game, the Saints, this is gonna be a practice game for the Saints. I think they win this pretty handily. I don't even want to give a score prediction because nobody's watching this game. Nobody's like, let's watch the Saints and the Falcons and see what. Please, like, what are we? The Falcons are in a true rebuilding phase right now. They're trying to figure some stuff out. They're probably going to get some first round draft picks, maybe make some trades, things of that nature. They're going to have to because they are going to be trash, juice, dumpster fire this year. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. Now, I will say this about on the side of Jameis and the Saints. I do think that they've made some really good moves in the offseason. They got Tyrann Mathieu, from the Chiefs as well. So I think that's going to be really interesting for their defense. He's going to be able to hold that defense, as well as Alvin Kamara coming back because I know he had some injury issues last year. So he's coming back healthy. So that's going to be a positive for them. If Jameis can stay healthy and he can cut down on the turnovers, they have a chance to, because they are a really good team. It's just those few little kinks that they need to work out. Like I said, if he can stay healthy and cut down on the turnovers and just manage the game. They don't even need him to be like a Drew Brees or a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. Just manage the game, make smart decisions. They can make noise in the AFC South. But
how are the Saints gonna look without Sean Payton? We gotta remember, Sean Payton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the Saints. Yeah. I'm a little worried about how they're gonna bounce back after the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. I still think they have an amazing defense. Getting Tyrann Mathieu was just making you guys better with the Honey Badger back there. But I don't know. I gotta see how that first couple weeks goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's
You're in a
trial
whole
and
new
error.
era right now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be trial and error. But I mean, if we talking about against the Falcons, let's come on now. Like, let's listen. I could go coach the Saints, and we gonna. I could go coach the Saints, and we gonna beat the Falcons. Either way it goes, I'm just like, do what y'all do. Y'all got it.
Look,
who's gonna have a worse season this year, the Detroit Lions or the Atlanta Falcons?
Who? I don't know. They gotta play rock paper scissors.
I think Detroit is gonna win 5 to 6 games this season. I think they made some special sauce in the offseason. I think Campbell's going into his second year as the head coach. I think Jared Goff is finally done being upset about losing his job in LA. And I think they could possibly win 5 or 6 games this season. The Falcons, I got them 1-3.
I feel like they should play rock paper scissors and see who's gonna have the wins. Because come on, man. Just it's that's the how they have. I don't know if you guys seen the meme, but there's just like when NFL season comes back because you're playing your nap for the game that nobody really wants to watch. That's the nap game. Like if you want to take a nap before the next game, that is the nap game right there.
The 1 o'clock just got out of church.
Just had lunch. Yeah, you just check the food in the crock pot. It's got a couple more hours. You just go and take your nap.
All right, so we got a pretty awesome stack of games in week 1. But a really interesting game that we have going on is the Cleveland Browns and the Panthers as another 1 o'clock game, September 11th. Baker Mayfield is QB1. Sam Darnold's probably going to be out for some time. They might be looking for a backup because I don't know if PJ Walker from the XFL is going to be the answer to back up Baker, who's been dealing with injuries last season especially. So the Panthers are playing at home. Baker's pretty upset with the Cleveland Browns organization. I think they're playing with Jacoby Brissett because Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for 11 games. How's that game going to shake up between those two teams?
Baker is going to be on his petty time. He's going to be on super petty, extra petty, with a side of petty. Like, I mean, because think about it like this. Like when Baker was still, and this is why I said this, is because when Baker was still with the Browns, I forget the coach that like pretty much didn't believe in him, didn't want him, and then he ended up. I think he ended up going to another team mid-season, if I'm not mistaken. The coach did, and they played against him. And I remember Baker scored, and I remember Baker going from one end of the field to the next to point at the coach to let him know, like, you didn't want me, you were against me, you didn't believe in me. Look what I just did. So I think being even though he's playing against a quarterback it's not of the caliber of talent of Deshaun Watson, it doesn't matter. Baker wants his get back however he gonna get it, and I feel like this Panthers team is gonna rally behind him in regards to that. I think that they're the better team against the Browns at this particular point. So this is gonna be a revenge game for Baker. It's gonna be interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be very interesting because Baker wants his get back. And because I mean, we all saw how it played out. We all saw what happened. We all saw the interview that he gave afterwards, when Cleveland pretty much went and took the meeting with Deshaun and how he felt and the letter he wrote and just everything that transpired after that. So
that was such an ugly breakup. It was
very ugly. And the best thing in the world after you have an ugly breakup is revenge, and revenge is served as a cold dish. And trust me, Baker gonna have that dish ice cold. Trust me. Trust me.
Okay, so when we look at the rosters for the Cleveland Browns, and when we look at the roster or lack thereof in Carolina for the Panthers, is Baker in a better situation or a worse situation when it comes to the pieces around him?
I mean, it's the Rose Bowl of trash, but at the end of the day, I think Baker still has a better opportunity to come out there with a win. Now that I'm just being real.
That was beautiful. Well said, Sensei. You sure have your way with words.
I love this. I love this. Look, Baker Mayfield said, "Fuck." Oh, sorry. Wait. F them up. This is a family show. F them up. All right. Add fuel to the fire. Get ready for week 1 for the Browns. That's what he said. They're gonna F them up. So again, he is ready. He's like, I'm going against my team. The disrespect with hiring Deshaun Watson over him, like, really, y'all just gonna have me out here? So I just expect him to show up and show out. So I always want to root for Baker. I always have. Like, I just had a little special place in my heart for him, and like, I wanted him to do good, and I wanted the Browns when they first had all their players. I'm like, oh, boom, they're stacked. They're gonna make something. Yeah. Browns gonna finally be a winning team, and they just but. So I think take down the Browns, show them that they treated you bad, and nothing better to do that than get the win in week 1.
What you think, Ruth?
I think it's gonna be a coming out party for Baker Mayfield. I think he really wants to show the league that he is better than what the Cleveland Browns made him out to be. I don't think it was a good situation for him going through 4 head coaches. 3 owner, like it was just too much in and out. There was no consistency with the Cleveland Browns. They've been a really bad organization for decades now. So I really don't believe that the problem was Baker in the first place. I think Baker just wasn't the man for the job. Now, the man for the job would be like a Tom Brady type person who is strong enough and has the leadership skills to take people out of the trash can and put them on the bleachers. So I just don't think that Baker really had it in him. So I feel bad the way that he kind of got slapped in the face with them saying that they weren't going to go for Deshaun. And then out of nowhere, they went and signed Deshaun. Do you remember that? Like they went
behind his back pretty much.
Yeah, they pulled out of the running. Yeah. They pulled out of the running of obtaining Deshaun Watson. And then all of a sudden they were the ones that gave him this major guaranteed money contract. And Baker was just like, what the, like, he was completely blindsided. I don't really think there was any communication between him and the front office. So I actually felt bad for Baker in that situation. So I really think this is going to be his time to shine in Carolina. But the biggest question mark when it comes to Carolina is their offensive line. Shout out to Sheena Quick, who covers, she's a sideline reporter for the Panthers. I had some conversation with her, and she said it doesn't matter who we have throwing the ball. If we do not have an offensive line that is going to give our quarterback at least 2 to 3 seconds to get that ball down the field, nobody can help us.
That's a really good point. So there was actually a game that I just was looking at that peeked out to me here, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. The Raiders and the Chargers. Ooh. I feel like that's going to be a really, really, really good game between two really good teams, both kind of equally yoked. So, Ruth, who do you got? Like, how do you see that game taking place?
I love Justin Herbert and I love Derek Carr, but I just feel like Derek Carr is in such a beautiful position right now with Josh McDaniels being the head coach for the Raiders, obviously coming from the New England Patriots. I'm not a really big fan of Brandon Stanley, who was the head coach of the Chargers. I really feel like he could have gotten his team to the playoffs with having a quarterback like Justin Herbert and having the weapons that they do. So I'm going to take the Raiders in that game. I want to see Derek Carr be successful this season, but not too successful to where like you win everything at the end of the day, because I still want my Dallas Cowboys or at least the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make the Super Bowl Super Bowl appearance. But I have Derek Carr and Devontae Adams definitely winning in week 1 against the Chargers.
Yeah, what about you, Jay Nicole?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Carr a little bit earlier with the weapon of Devontae Adams. Look, I'm looking at my division like, ooh, like, why I gotta go get Devontae, right? Like, really? Was Raiders, and we had some good games with the Chiefs and the Raiders, but it's like, oh, we went to go get Devontae. We lost Hill, but it's all gonna be okay. We're gonna pull it out. But yeah, definitely Raiders all day. They're gonna take it from Chargers, even though Chargers at home. I'm excited to see Carr and Devontae Adams show up and show out.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you guys as well. I got the Raiders too. I just don't trust the Chargers just yet. They They're kind of like the Utah Jazz of the NFL. Like they kind of just like they build you up in the regular season just to let you down. So it's like I gotta see it before I believe in it. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders as well. Now before we get to the big game that Ruth is dying to talk about, let's skip to the Monday night game really quick because we got another quote unquote revenge game. We got the Broncos and the Seahawks. So, Jay, how do you see the Broncos and the Seahawks transpire? Being there, Russ is going against his former team. He's heard all the talk, all the nonsense, all the noise.
All the chatter.
What's going on?
You know, my dude, you know, Russell Wilson. He like, look, Seahawks, y'all didn't protect me. Y'all got me hit all the time. Y'all didn't care about me. Like, how do we let Seahawks? Who do you have? Who's the quarterback right now? Who is
Geno Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry, that laughed too loud.
For nobody.
So basically,
they also got Drew Luck.
Right? You're like, who is it again? Wait, they also have who? Who else do they have?
Drew Luck.
Oh, okay. So we're like, well, you have to ask. You're like, look, I don't really. I mean, what do we say? It's these revenge games, right? I think Russell Wilson will show up and show out. Even though Seattle is home, right? It's a home game for them. Monday Night Football, but I think Russell Wilson wants to say, you guys were stupid. You didn't give me what I needed. You didn't have an O-line that would protect me. Like, I went off to greener pastures in Denver, and I'm going to show you what you just lost out on so you can have a rebuilding year or whatever the Seahawks think they're doing. But, yeah, they should have never let a quarterback like Russell Wilson go. Like, you should have given him everything, give him the offensive line. Like, he still had – like, what he – and, I mean, I know it's hard when he had such success in the beginning, right? Rookie quarterback do all this stuff. So, and, of course, you pay him, like, hey, for what you've done, right? And you hope to keep that, but – I don't feel like they were building the team around him. They definitely weren't building the team around him so he could have more success. So I'm excited to see him in a Broncos uniform. I am a huge Peyton Manning fan. And so when Peyton Manning went to the Denver Broncos, so did I. Hey, we're about to do this. And dude, right now it's escaping my mind. What's the quarterback from the old quarterback? Elway, right? He talked to Russ. He's like, come over here. You saw what we did with Peyton, right? Come on. So, although I'm not quite, again, in my division, still Chiefs fan, not really. I ain't trying to have the Broncos win a Super Bowl this year, but I mean, it's been a few years later. But all of that to say is I think the Broncos will take it for sure.
All right. Baba, what about you, Ruth? The truth.
There was a lot of changes happening in Seattle. Not only did Russell Wilson make his exit to be signed with the Denver Broncos, but they also had Chris Carson, which is their running back one, retire at a very young age. So this is looking like a whole different team with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. I mean, both of those options aren't really I can't really take any of those options. But the good thing that they did was sign DK Metcalf to a long-term extension, and they still got Tyler Lockett. So I'm hoping that maybe they can try to form some type of offense as Pete Carroll. I think the reason why Russell Wilson was not getting along with Pete Carroll is because Pete Carroll's a defensive-minded coach. And Russell Wilson is seeing all these great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, go into new teams that are with offensive-minded coaches and winning Super Bowls. So I really feel like Russell Wilson, who was here in 2020 at the Raymond James Stadium, sitting next to John Elway at the Super Bowl, I think really has written down some notes on the success of an offense and how to get to a Super Bowl. So I think Russell Wilson is in a great position, and he is going to completely stop the Seahawks in week 1. Doesn't matter if they're at home. They might boo him at the end of the game, even though they love him so much.
I would say they better not. Hell, what Super Bowl was y'all gonna get without Russell Wilson? Y'all, they better not. It better not be. They better not say a word with a beat in it. Don't even try it, because what that man gave y'all years of greatness, and it took y'all from poverty, like I said, from poverty to being relevant again. So there should be no boos as it pertains to it, because it's not his fault that he had to end up eventually leading the Seahawks. Because, like you said, Pete Carroll's a defensive coach. He didn't care about the offense. As long as the defense was flying all over the place and making things difficult for people, that's all he cared about. Because you could tell they never got Russ to O-line. when when he lost his top receivers, they never really replaced them with anything that was equivalent or better until they got DK Metcalf, which at that point, Russ is like, look, I've already taken up all these bumps and all these bruises and had to pretty much scramble for my life every other play. This is cool, but we still don't have an offensive line. So how am I going to get him the ball if I'm getting swarmed every other play? Because the playbook against the Seahawks is all we got to do is rush the quarterback because they ain't got a good O-line. So it's like that's not on him and that's not his fault. I think the Broncos end up winning this game because, like I said, I think people mistake Russ for just being a nice guy and all the Christian and the good husband and the thing of that nature. But Russ is a competitor. Like he likes to compete. He wants to compete for Super Bowls. Like that's his whole MO. He's a winner. He's a proven winner. So he's gonna win. And he's not gonna say it, of course, because that's not in his nature. But if you think he's not gonna go out there and try to ball out against his former team after everything that happened, oh, what? Come on. It's like the Broncos are I definitely have the Broncos winning that game. Like I said, the AFC West is going to be just a dogfight of a division this year. Like it's going to be a dogfight of a division this year. But I have them winning. Now I'm not sure exactly what I would see the score as, but I do have the Broncos winning. But moving on from that to the game that Ruth wants to talk about so bad, as well as Jay Nicole. You can see it in their faces. I'm actually a neutral party in this game, so I am going to enjoy this because this is going to be so much fun. You have the Cowboys of Dallas, Jerry Jones' very own, against Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in Week 1 on the Sunday Night Football game. What is? I'm just gonna throw it out there. Whoever wants to go first, y'all can go first. I'm gonna let y'all have it. What y'all think?
I am not looking forward to this game. I mean, obviously I am because I'm flying to Dallas and it's gonna be a great time, all that kind of jazz. But I do not want to see Brady get hurt. I really don't. And the way that their offensive line is so beat up right now. They lost Alex Kappa in the offseason, who signed with the Bengals. They had Ryan Jensen go down in day 2 of training camp. He's probably not going to be back till December. They're having a rookie left guard step in and Luka Decky, who's going to be protecting Brady. Yeah, we have Tristan Wirth. Yeah, we have Golston. But I don't have the confidence in the offensive line right now. There's too many question marks when it comes to the protection. We all know that Brady does not like getting pressured down the middle. So I really feel like Micah Parsons is going to be a huge problem for the Bucs and their offensive line. But at least a good thing, we have Leonard Fournette, who is one of the best running backs, in my opinion, one of the best running backs in the NFL right now with his consistency. I mean, I think he proved the whole world wrong about him only being Lombardi Letty. No, he's regular season Letty, and we saw that last season, the way he was able to compete even through dealing with injuries. So things are not looking great for the Bucs, but they do have a lot of offensive weapons. I mean, the list goes on and on. Is Chris Godwin going to be ready for Week 1? Probably not, but we still got Julio Jones. We went and got Russell Gage. We have Mike Evans, who has consistently had 1,000-yard seasons his whole entire career, which has never been done before. So there's a lot of promise when it comes to the offense for the Tampa Bay Bucs, but it's all going to come down to the protection and whether or not Brady is going to have time to execute the offense. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a serious problem for them. And I have Dallas winning in Week 1, especially with how things ended last season in Week 1. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Dallas Cowboys came to Raymond James and played in Tampa and lost in the final seconds by a kick by Ryan Suckup with an incredible throw that was thrown by Brady to Chris Godwin. I think it was a push-off. It should have been an offensive pass interference. But that's not here nor there. They put him in a kicking position, and they ended up winning by 2. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to come back with some ammunition in their pocket. And they're playing in Jerry's world. So I think it's going to be a Dallas Cowboys win, but it's definitely not going to be easy. So it's going to be a high-scoring game between both of these offenses. So I have it 21-28 Dallas.
Okay, Jay.
I like. Look, ever since I moved to the great state of Texas, I said, you know what, Dallas Cowboys, you can be my NFC team. You can be my NFC team. Ruth, have all the fun at Jerry's World. Let me say this. If you are a football fan, period, okay, period, you need to go to Jerry's World. There is nothing like it. I went to the game the day after Christmas game against the Commanders where they just spanked them, embarrassed them, whatever.
Oh, they got mollywop.
Oh, Molly. It was just
good old Molly whopping.
Yes,
Good
what a
old
beautiful
Molly
game to be at the day after Christmas. That's my third time to Jerry's World. Like, yo, it is an experience to be had. Let me say that. Even if you don't like the Cowboys, but you just love football, you go to stadiums. Jerry's World is a place to be at. Yeah. So like.
I gotta make it down.
I always want to root for the Cowboys. I'm happy that Ruth's going for a team, and she's like, "Hey, I think they can pull it off." I think the Bucks are banged up enough that the Dallas Cowboys can just go ahead and pull this off. And like she said, I remember game 1 of last season, right? Yeah, that was a nail biter and clincher. You're like, okay, Cowboys came to play. They over here.
And then what happened?
Right, and then Tom Brady happened. So, although I am a huge Tom Brady fan, I love Tom Brady. Like he is the GOAT. Man, it should be a good game. This should be a good game. I think there's enough chatter in Dak's ears, enough chatter in Zeke's ears, right? We're like, you guys got paid. We haven't seen you do anything. The Cowboys, unfortunately, haven't won a playoff game, or have only won 3 playoff games since the year 2000. Okay. You let your stepbrother, the Texans, have 4 wins, playoff wins in 2000. We gotta see the Cowboys be America's team. Come on, I mean we're rooting for them every season. I want to see them do good. I really do. Close one. I don't make a prediction. I want to see the Cowboys win. I think it could happen, like I said, because the Bucks are just banged up enough. I think they definitely could put it off. I think there's enough chatter in Dak's ear and Zeke's ear that we're like, look, we got to do something. We gotta shut up or put up. This is it. Now people have given us, and but like we really got to do something this year. So I think the motivation is clear. I think McCarthy wants to keep his job. I think everybody's like, look, we really gotta again put up or shut up, right? So I definitely think they have a great chance. But anytime you're going against number 12, you just don't know. You just don't know. It's just number 12. No matter who hurt, no matter whatever it's like, it's number 12. So we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead with Ruth. I'm rocking the hat. I rocked it today just for Ruth. I'm gonna go with Cowboys, and I think it'll be a close game too. I think they will redeem themselves from last year's loss in a close game. Score 20-something to 20-something. I'll go with that. With Ruth said, I think that very much could be the score.
There's nothing I enjoy more than listening to Cowboys fans talk about their expectations of their team every single year at the start of the NFL season, because you guys, the faith and just the consistency of you just coming back every single year to believe in this team who consistently has let you down. Listen, until Tom Brady is carried out on a stretcher or he says, I retire, I am not betting against that man. I don't care who he playing against. I don't care about the offensive line. I don't care about the defense. If Tom Brady is able and willing and can stand upright to throw a football, I'm not betting against that man. Now, listen, I do think that it will be a close game. I do think that it's going to come down to the wire. But if the Cowboys have taught you nothing, they are not to be trusted in close games. They are not to be trusted in close games. The Dallas Cowboys are the equivalent of that cousin in the family that you really don't trust in your house like that. So you got to like watch them and make sure that nothing come up missing, because if it did, it was probably them. It's the Cowboys. They are the equivalent to that. You cannot trust them in close games. Now, I'll say this. If it comes down to where it's a blowout and the Cowboys have a lead, I do think that they can maintain that lead and they can end up winning the game, because I don't think Tampa has enough horses to come back from a major deficit, because they are missing so many major pieces on their team. So I will say that. But if it comes down to where it's down to the wire, it's neck and neck, I'm not betting against. Ruth, say his name. Please say his name. Please say his full government name. Say his name, please. For the
Thomas
people, one time.
Edward Patrick Brady.
That's right. And if that man has the ball in his hands with the game on the line, cancel Christmas. The Buccaneers are going home winners. Period. Just my thoughts.
I really think that there's a lot of emphasis on the Dallas Cowboys and their head coach, Mike McCarthy. I mean, the very first question that he was asked going into training camp was, are you worried that you're going to lose your job to Dan Quinn?
Jesus
So
Christ.
I really think that he's got to make some major changes. I think the reason why Aaron Rodgers was able to force him out of Green Bay late in his coaching career was he was not evolving into the new offense of the NFL. And I saw that throughout the season last year. I really feel like that's a reason why Ezekiel Elliott has made such a drop off in his dominance when it comes to the running back. So, I mean, everybody's picking Tony Pollard over Zeke, and that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around with how incredible this kid came out in his rookie season and his first 4 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys, running for over 1,000 yards a season, like over 10 touchdowns a season. Like, he was a complete monster. So I hope Zeke stays healthy. I hope Zeke can make a change because there's so many people that are downing him and his athletic ability. And I really don't want him to fall short to Tony Pollard because, Tony, you're a great running back, but we gave Zeke the bag for a reason. Jerry Jones is paying him the amount of money that he's paying him for a reason. You're making $20 million a season? You better bring us some touchdowns. Like, stay healthy, stay available. You got to bounce back, Zeke. You have to. You have to.
Absolutely. Now, real quick before we wrap this episode up, I do want to get just speak on this really quick. As we all, or I don't know if, well, I think everybody knows at this point, that Serena Williams is going to be pretty much retiring after the U.S. Open, and then I believe she has one more tournament after that, which is the doubles tournament. But that she'll be playing with her sister, of course. So, real quick, just kind of give you guys' feelings on Serena Williams and just her legacy and what she means to women and what she means to sports in general, and just like her level of dominance, because she's my favorite athlete like all time. So I'm gonna just start it there. But anybody can go. But I just wanted to point that out because we got to show the ladies love, and Serena's definitely deserving of that. So y'all go ahead.
Yeah, Serena Williams, it's incredible the amount of years that she's been, the longevity that she's had in her career. She's definitely up there in conversation with LeBron James and with the greats. She's been such a great role model for so many young ladies. She's definitely given us women the encouragement that we need to play in professional sports and to be able to walk in a room full of men and be able to hold yourself down and hold yourself accountable. Serena, she will, be an all-time great. I haven't seen the movie yet with Will Smith, but I definitely want to watch that movie because I want to know of the history of the Williams sisters and how they started their careers in tennis, how they came up with, being in a sport that's been dominated by the white culture, and they're coming in as African-American women and completely dominating. I definitely want to read more into that story, but it's crazy. It's really kind of making me feel like I'm getting old up there that we're seeing all these end their careers.
That's real. That's real.
She looks like she's 25. The way she just like, black don't crack. So
exactly. Unless you do it, it don't crack unless you do it.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to see Serena coming to the end of her career, but she's gonna be a legend for decades to come, and she's always gonna be in conversation with one of the greats. So thank you, Serena, for everything that you've done to the game of tennis and to women in sports in general.
Yeah. Number 1 highest women paid athlete. Like, just some of her like, she's been ranked singles world number 1 by the Women's Tennis Association, including a joint record of 186 consecutive weeks being at number 1, and finished this year at number 1 5 times, 23 Grand Slam titles, the most by any player in this Open era, second most to Margaret Courts. But like, she's just been amazing, doing it all. Looking at her, I'm like, okay, she's 40, she's about to be 41 at the end of September. Like, I mean, queen. I mean, what she was playing when she was like 5 months pregnant and won the
US won the US Open when she was 5 months pregnant.
What can you not do?
Insane.
Right?
Insane.
What can you not do? I mean, just a queen in every way, a fierce competitor, right? You know what I mean? She's just passionate about the game that she loves. I want to watch that Will Smith movie, the movie with Will Smith too, to learn their journey. But yeah, just thank you, Serena, for everything you've done for sports in general, for the world of tennis, for women in sports, for women of color in sports, for African American women, all of that. You will truly, truly be missed. And yeah, just excited for this next chapter in your life. And, you know, you're going to go ahead and do all the things that you want to do. Spend time with your baby girl and your husband. Just, you know, live.
And she's coming next too, by the way. So y'all be nervous because Olympia's coming. She's coming next.
That's what I said. They're like, did you see her in her little like braids with the beads? Like,
oh God. Oh,
yeah.
Serena for president is all I gotta say.
Seriously. Honestly, Serena is it's one of those things with when it comes to Serena, like she's one of those people that there's certain moments when watching Serena where I'm like, oh, she's about to take it to the next level. Like, you know, like how Kobe, when he would have that bottom row of teeth out and you knew like it was over. Like he was gonna, no matter what happened, he was gonna be the one to be victorious at the end. You know, Braun, when he has that look in his face. But when Serena hits that come on with the fist, oh, there's nothing that gets me hyper than that, because you know she's not going to lose. Like I don't think I've ever seen her lose after she does that. And she's everything you guys said, you know, you guys spoke on that perfectly, because she's been that for 20 some years, you know, just dominating a sports that she wasn't supposed to be, meant to be dominated, like by somebody that looks like her, that comes from where she comes from. She comes from the inner city of Compton. She comes from, you know, an impoverished environment, and she came up, you know, she didn't have the fancy $1 million tennis trainer. She had her dad. It was just her and her dad and her sister. And to go from that to be one of the greatest athletes of all time is just an incredible feat. It's amazing the mental capacity that she's had to be great for so long, to dominate and to go through, you know, the undertone of racism and, you know, just everything that she's had to deal with throughout her career, to be considered one of the greatest, well, to me, the greatest of all time, but, you know, in other people's eyes, she's in that conversation of greatest of all time. And even further than that, greatest athletes of all time, because there hasn't been too many athletes as dominant as Serena Williams, and she's a woman and a Black woman on top of that. So like, she's a huge inspiration to me. One of my, like I said, that's my favorite athlete of all time. Like Braun's my favorite basketball player, but she's my favorite athlete of all time, because I just don't think that there's too many people that can do what Serena has done, to dominate a sport the way that she has. It's been incredible, and I'm incredibly sad to see her go, but she's definitely earned her trip into the sunset to you know, venture into the next journey of her life. But like I said, get nervous, tennis, because Olympia's coming. Give her about 10 years. She's gonna be on y'all heels, so y'all better be ready, because she's already practicing, and she's practicing with the GOAT. But yes, thank you, Serena, for everything that you brought to not only to tennis, but just to show women of color that you can not only, you know, be great at your profession, but you can be a businesswoman, you can be a mom, you can be a wife, and all these things. You can have the life that you desire. So thank you, Serena, for showing us that example. And good luck, sis, man. Whatever you decide to do next, I'm gonna be fully supporting. But that's gonna wrap up another episode of the Sports Senseis. We will be back next Tuesday at our new time at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I believe that it would be 4 your time, Jay?
8 p.m. Central.
8 p.m. Oh, yeah, 8 p.m. Because you're 2 years. Yeah, I keep forgetting
the time, right? The time.
Jesus. Okay, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you guys tune in. We have another episode of you packed full of all of our craziness plus good sports talk. It's been wonderful. Ladies, I missed y'all so much, and I'm so glad that we're back.
Yes, we back. Yes, it feels good. Great first episode back, ladies. We had a lot of great content. We appreciate everybody staying locked in. Make sure to follow us on social media and give the ASAP All Sports All Plays Network YouTube page a like and a subscription, and stay locked in with us. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye.